Okay, so I just want to say this. Welcome to our Allegedly segment. So this is the Allegedly segment. And again, let me just remind you, please remember to like, share, comment, and let me know your thoughts. And as we go into this segment, I just want to make this clear. It's a reminder. Please be mindful that it is not my intention to harm or hurt anyone. It is not my intention to belittle or disregard anyone or demean anyone. That's not the intention. There are no negative intentions here. Now, I cannot predict how the outcome or how someone might receive my conversation, my monologue, my thoughts, my ideas, and my feelings that I will express. I don't know how you receive it. It is my hope that you can receive it as me being myself and in my authenticity, and that it's not a slight against you or those you love and cherish, right? Because I know that when we talk about celebrities and stuff, there's some of you who really love them, you worship them, you hail them, and I don't mean it in any negative way, but they are important to you. Some of them are your heroes. I'm not trying to put any darkness over that. I'm not trying to demean that in any way, but as an individual, I have opinions, and I would like to share those opinions. Before I go into it, I just want to share the fair use. So copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. So please understand the clips that I'm about to share. The intention is not to infringe on anyone's content. I just want to share this because of the conversation I'm going to have around it, okay? Together. So we're going to go into our story about Will Smith. And in this, he's talking about facing his fears and the fact that, you know, he found that, this is my understanding of what he was saying, he realized that he was living in fear, and the things he was doing, though seemingly good or unfavorable, he realized that he was operating from a place of fear. And I thought, when I ran across this clip, I thought, I've got to talk about that because that is something that affects me too, and I'm sure it affects other entrepreneurs. It's something that's a big deal, and sometimes we don't even realize that it's happening. So let's go there. I just want to credit the people who, so here we are. So this is a Will Smith interview on $1 million worth of game. $1 million worth of game. I like that. Because to me, it's saying, listen, you've got to come and listen. We are giving you, it's like wisdom, how to move. $1 million worth of wisdom. That's how I interpret this as $1 million worth of game. That's the channel, and they're at me. Wait, you'll see. They're at, their YouTube channel is at M Worth of Game. M Worth of Game. You've got to check them out. And I invite you to watch this entire interview. So useful. I'm only speaking about this particular segment, but you can go and watch the full interview. I would suggest you do, because it was such a powerful interview. And let me be clear, it's not because he's a celebrity that made it powerful. It's because I feel like he wasn't a celebrity talking. I literally felt like Will Smith was sitting with his homies, his friends, people who he knew from younger days, and they were just having a conversation after having had success and having gone through some of the challenges that success brings. Almost like a humbling has happened, not in a negative way, almost like he's been humbled, and here he is again having a second experience of experience of what life was like before he got wealthy. I don't know how to explain it, but that's kind of how in my mind I get it. Like he's saying, you know what? I'm back at my humble days. I'm back in those days when it's almost like he's here as just this humble person, not the wealthy, known celebrity that he is. You know, like he's just back at, hey, it's the normal me. It's the regular me. That's how this felt to me, and that's why it had such an impact on me, and that's why I'm here. So let's begin.
In the last couple of years, you know, I really, you know, just shut it down after the Oscars and did just full, deep, internal work. And, you know, I looked at all of those parts of myself that I had imprisoned. Those parts of myself I wasn't allowed to be in public, you know, and as I...
Powerful. Did you hear what he said? The part of himself that he shut away. Aren't we all doing that? And this is why I started by saying, can we get to a place where we can appreciate and value people for who they are so they can take off the mask and be real with you? I always call it creating an enabling environment for people to be themselves. Because sometimes the reason people lie to us, or the people are deceitful to us, or they're not honest with us, it's because of the environment that we provide. It's because of how they interpret us and the way we come at them and how they think we're going to come at them. So if you really want people to be honest, can you handle the truth? There's a movie, A Few Good Men, when the man said, you can't handle the truth. Can you handle the truth? Because some of us can handle lies, but we cannot handle truth. And we're going to have to get honest about that. But he's so right. Unlocking the parts of yourself that you've allowed the world to negatively influence you, to lock away and imprison. So it's like half of you are in prison and the half of you are out here. That doesn't make sense. The half of you that's in prison and the half of you that's out here. How do they harmonize? Isn't that a disconnection? And if that is happening, how do we expect people to not fail us? How do we expect them to live in such a miserable way? Let's continue.
As I started to look and started to like befriend my fear.
Oh my God.
As I started to
Oh my God. Powerful what he just said. And it's, this connected with me. I'm not going to say he's saying at a time when it connects with me, because I saw the clip. I resonated with it because of what I've gone through. And that makes me so almost emotional. Honestly, let me say this. When I thought of doing this episode, I almost did not record, but I know I have to record in order to end the season, but I almost didn't record it because I've been feeling so emotional because of what has been happening with Sean Combs, Cassie, and just a lot of melanated men in the media has made me so emotional. So I was really kind of hesitant of whether or not I should come here, because I don't want to be emotional on this show. It's a commitment I've made to myself. I don't want to cry. I want to be strong when I'm here. I want to sit in whatever is happening. But he just said something. He had to befriend his fear. I have gone through that, where I had to say to myself, okay, listen, we have to see fear a different way. I have to interpret it a different way. It's no longer something for me to run from or hide from or be terrified on and petrified of, but maybe it is a signal that is trying to help me. This is so powerful.
Admit that I'm confused. Admit that as I started to look and started to
Self-work.
Befriend my fear. As I started to admit that I'm confused, admit that I'm sad, really looking at myself honestly and for real. What I kind of discovered is those things that I had shoved down, as soon as I let them up and looked at them, beneath was a whole new well of creativity. Yeah. Right?
Oh my gosh. I don't know if I'm going to be able to prevent myself from crying, from tearing up here, because I went through that same thing. It's what I call, and I didn't say this at the beginning, but I'm supposed to say it, right? Seen it in the montage. This segment is about exploring other people's breakdowns so it can inspire our self-work, so we can have breakthroughs. What Will Smith is talking about, I've been through it I'd say the last 3 years. That's the journey I've been on. 3 going 4 years. That's the journey I've been on, because I lost myself and fear took over and I disconnected with who I was. Completely lost myself. Did not know who I saw when I looked into the mirror. I was not myself. I could not go outside. There was so much happening with me, right? And after I had to do a lot of self-work. You hear what he said? One of the things I had to face and deal with was, this is me. This is me. I also had to get at one with, I do not have control over everything. I don't have control over my life. I don't have control over who I'm going to meet. I don't have a lot of control over the vetting process because I could do my best, but some people are going to come through that I'm not going to know ahead of time because they came through for a reason. I had to admit that I don't know. I have this thing this place where I'm at right now, this thing that I do where I will start talking about something and I'm like, you know what? I don't know. Like even with the whole Sean Combs thing, I'm like, why did that happen? I don't know. I've just become at one with I do not know. I don't know. I'm confused. I'm hurting. And also, one of the things I've had to make peace with is crying. I was bullying myself out of crying, and I had to say to myself, we want to cry in this moment, and we're going to cry. Cry. Just cry. Don't worry about it. Just cry. And I've had to allow myself to cry. Even if I don't know the reason, even if I can't understand why, even no matter what it is, I have just come to a place where I'm like, allow yourself to feel what it feels. Allow yourself to be who you are. Because myself, who I am, is not all about who I think I am. There's what I think, and then there's the me. Two separate things. I am me. I'm this huge being, but this small being. You know? Let's continue. Powerful things.
So it was like, you know, anything that you refuse about yourself, like, I'm not going to be sad.
Right.
I'm not even going to be sad. Right.
Yes.
So it's almost like it felt like you put it down and you like put it and it's over a hole.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
But as soon as you like admit and like embrace the fact that, you know, you might be a little sad, it like lets up and it unleashes a whole other part of yourself.
Yes.
When you like admit those things, there's like these crazy wells of creativity and poetry and thoughts and ideas. It's like it opens up like a whole different connection to yourself that if you only gonna be this way and you decide I'm only this and this little constellation of ideas that you're only going to be that, you're missing all of the sauce of who and what you actually are. So it's like I got introduced to a whole other universe of myself and new ideas and new thoughts and new perceptions. So being able to put that into lyrics now, it's like a fire hose of new ideas. I'm just trying to figure out how to put into art. You know, so I think that this is about to be the wildest, craziest, creative period of my entire career. The roles I'm going to play as an actor, the music that I'm going to make, the other forms of art, the relationships I'll be able to create. It's like this is going to be the greatest period of my entire life.
Do you think?
And he is so correct. I am the most powerful I've ever been. And it's because I've allowed myself to do this. I've allowed myself to do the self-work. But let me tell you the real crux of it, the thing that really makes it happen. Allowing yourself to have the breakdown. Allowing yourself to be disrupted. Allowing your energy to shift, allowing your comfort zone to be stirred, allowing your sad to be sad, allowing your tears to fall, allowing that heartbreak to break. Let it break your heart. Let your heart break. Let it break. Let the tears fall. Scream, yes. Do what you want to do, even though it's going to upset some people. Upset them. Yes, it's called disruption. It's a breakdown. Because once you allow the breakdown to happen, so for example, the crying is a breakdown, or the heartbreak is a breakdown in the emotions. But once you allow that thing to take its place, take its course, right? You're going to learn some lessons in the process. And as you're learning the lessons, you allow yourself to learn the lessons and you do the self-work, because maybe you need to look at and say, okay, when I interacted with this person, this was what happened to me. When I went out to this place, this is what happened to me. You do the evaluation. You get some training if you need to. You get some therapy if you need to. You get some coaching if you need to. That's all a part of the self-work. You do the self-work, the evaluation, the examining things. What is missing? What is showing up? What are the new opportunities here? Because guess what happened, right? When we don't allow the breakdown to happen, we exist in what we call circumstantial drift. It's like doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. Over and over and expecting a different result. You've got to let your heart break. You've got to let your mind wander. You've got to let those tears fall. You have to let somebody disrupt you. Let what's happening happen. And while it's happening, pay attention. Examine what's showing up. What's missing here? That's what he's saying he went through. That is what he's saying shifted for him. And that expands you. It never limits you. When you go through a breakthrough, you're never limited unless you refuse to do the self-work, to make the change, to make the adjustments that's necessary. That's the only time you lag. And you don't go backward really. You're really just in circumstantial drift, because the new things you've learned, they don't disappear. You're just not using them, right? So, oh my God, this is so powerful. Let's continue. And I just want to say thank you to the $1 million worth of game for this interview. Thanks to Will, thanks to everyone involved. As per usual, we're thankful to all the person whose stories we enter, we go into, and we explore, because their breakdowns help us to do our self-work so we can achieve breakthrough. So we don't always have to be the ones breaking, because if we learn from other people, we don't have to go through the same thing they've been through.
Based on...
That's all we've got time for. Thank you.
Yeah.
I thought that was so funny.
Do you think, based on the conditions of our upbringing,
Yeah.
You saw what he just did? Because it was a very emotional little moment, and he just kind of lightened the mood. Because sometimes you have to, when you know yourself and you've done your self-work, you learn what to do to help you through. Just like a while ago I said to you, I felt like I was going to cry. And it's not because necessarily the feeling of crying has gone. It's just that I'm implementing the techniques that I've been learning to manage my emotions, right?
what you just discovered, you wasn't able to discover younger, because we're told not to think a certain, the black cell, I call it, is a prison cell that we create in our communities. Tell us, don't cry, don't be emotional.
Whoa. We're not going to let that pass. Aye. The black cell is our culture. Liberation or prison? Are the systems we have in place perhaps out of protection because of what we have gone through, or what we have perceived, what we perceive that we've gone through, or what we've been taught that we went through, or what we think we've gone through? Those systems that we've put in place, are they still useful? Have they outlived their usefulness? Are they just prisons now? Are we carrying forward bridges? Was something that we implemented supposed to be a bridge, but we have been hauling that bridge as a platform on which all lives, every life should stand, thereby creating a prison for the people we love and not knowing it. Worth thinking about, powerful thing. The fact that the man is interpreting that way, when you think about it, I really do feel sometimes like when I listen to how we talk, I feel like in the black community, we're so hard on each other. Like we don't expect each other to fail and to fall and to make mistakes. And even when we're not well, it's like you're still expected to show up perfect in this perfection, in this false sense of love, because it's not love. It's like we're in this endless cycle of lamentation, analysis, and criticism. It's like all we do is critique each other. We don't spend time to let me love on you, let me value you, let me experience you, let me appreciate you. instead, we're just constantly critiquing each other and making analysis and lamenting the issues that we think we are based on how we're perceiving them, thereby creating a prison for ourselves. So we're not locked up, but we may not have bars around us, but our minds, the things we tell ourselves and each other, closes the mind, thereby imprison us mentally. And I'm not talking about mental slavery. I'm talking about the systems of, and I think these were methods of survival or strategies or techniques that we implemented for survival that we've been overusing. It's outlasted its purpose because some things we were supposed to use, then discard. But it's like we're still bringing those bridges with us. We didn't leave the bridge where it was for somebody else to use it. We're carrying it on our shoulder, and thereby it's like we circumstantial drift. Yeah, listen to what this man has to say.
Don't be vulnerable. Don't think outside of the box. You can't do this if you black. You can't do that if you black. Yep. If you do that, you ain't black no more. Do you think that programmed you to? How old was you when you was able to break out of that box?
Yeah.
How old was you?
56.
You think that programmed you to have you locked in?
3 days ago.
Blouse and skirt is what I was about to say. It happened for me when I was, and for me, it wasn't necessarily the quote unquote black experience, but it was wrapped up in the black experience. It was my upbringing. It was the way I felt about my place in the world. It was about, I didn't get up every day saying I'm a black person, but it was in my subconscious, if that makes sense. It was in my subconscious. And so there were things I was trying to get away from. I was trying to get away from myself. I was busy trying to get away from myself. I agree.
No, but I'm just saying. What I'm saying is, from growing up to reaching that point where you could break out of that cell, that took decades.
Yeah.
So you think that was the conditioning of our environments?
Yeah, and I'm only half joking when I say 3 days ago. It's like that's the work of so all programming's a prison cell, right? Yeah. So you grow up and you're told you have to.
I wouldn't necessarily say, I disagree there. I don't think all programming is a prison cell. I think all programming is a bridge. Education is a bridge. Information is a bridge. Or you can call them tools. But I think what happened is when you a bridge is not the road. It's not the path. A bridge is something that is supposed to allow you to get from point A over to point B, to get over a challenge, to get over something that was difficult to surpass. And then we're supposed to let the bridge go. But we keep carrying the bridge. We got stuck on the bridge. That's what I'd say. We got stuck on the bridge. We're on that bridge. It's like we're stuck. A lot of us are stuck on the bridge. I don't feel like I'm fully liberated from it either. But I can see myself moving past it, for sure, right? But it's a consistent, because there are people reminding you that you belong on that bridge. But I don't think the programming is a prison. I think the mindset around the programming is a prison. But I think the programming is a bridge that we, I guess, get stuck on, so it become a prison. So maybe we're saying the same thing. I don't know.
Be a certain way, and it's not just our community. You have a community. You grew up in an Italian community.
You gotta be a certain
way. You have to be a certain way. You grow up in a Japanese community. You got to be a certain way. So everybody, and it's done out of love most of the time. Your people want you to succeed, right? They want you to not suffer what they had to suffer. So they put the parameters in that you have to behave a certain way, and it's usually for survival.
Yes.
Right? It's like, there are some people that have malicious intents when we're young.
That's true.
But for the most part, we get smacked in our face for our benefit.
Good.
Our parents want us to not do the stuff that's going to get us jammed up in the world.
Where they can't protect
So you have that part of it.
Yes.
The real prison cell is after those people are gone, you do it to yourself. So that's the real
And
prison
to your
cell
children,
is
to your
whoever
loved
did it
ones.
when you was 7 could be dead and gone, and now you do it to yourself, and then you do it to your kids, right?
Yeah.
You know, so that's the real prison.
And that is it. When we oh my gosh, when we stay stuck on the bridge, the thing that was supposed to take us over from where we were to come to where we should be, and but we got stuck in the middle there. And oh my gosh, sometimes, like, I remember when I was younger, and person used to curse my father, like, he's not taking care of her, he's da 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 da. And as a child, to me, I felt like, but my father gave me everything he had. And it wasn't material things I was talking about. It was, to be honest with you, I felt like, when I look back at it, I felt like he paid attention to me, he listened to me. And it's so funny when I look back, because I really didn't get a lot of my father's time, but I thought I did. And I've realized why I thought I did. And I might have misrepresented the information, because to me, I was fulfilled with what I got. But then that taught me how to settle for less, right? But for me, it was the quality over the quantity. So I feel like, and I think I subliminally, unintentionally or subconsciously, was busy comparing my experience with my father with my mother, where my mother left and I was not, I was a stranger, but I was a guest in her house when I visited. That's how I felt. I'm not saying that's not on her. This is my experience, right? God bless her, because she did her best too. But I felt like with my father, okay, she left and I couldn't find her for so many years, for decades, for over a decade. But my father was always there, and even when I wasn't around him, he would still show up and pop up to see me. So it's like one completely abandoned me, but one neglected me. But the neglect wasn't so great, I guess, because the abandonment was so painful that the neglect, the popping every now and again, was sufficient. It was more than the total absent parent. I don't even know if that makes sense, but as I look back and I have done my work, I realize that, wow, that's what happened. It's not necessarily that he got everything, but then one of the things I experience now is when I started saying my dad gave me everything, then people applied that literally, like he gave me everything. But for me, I said he gave me all he had. And even he admitted that he wasn't a parent at all to me. He wasn't a good parent, and he wasn't there, and he took no credit for whatever he thought I might have achieved, But I still credit him, because he planted a lot of positive thoughts in my mind, and he saved me from missing both parents. But I would have later reconnected with my mother, but I still never felt like I belonged with her. I didn't feel wanted, And this is no slight to my mother. She was doing her best, and she did what God told her to do, whether or not I understood it, because I don't like the way I grew up, but I am better for it, if that makes sense. The mindset that it has put in me, had I not grown up that way, I don't think I'd have the mindset that I have right now. Yeah.
So, and starting to, once you are sovereign and you have control of your life, and for me, when I started to look and I started to see the prison cell of Will Smith, right? And there's great things. It's like being Will Smith we're not going to talk crazy now. Being Will Smith ain't so bad.
Fantastic.
It's just phenomenal. It's just not all of me.
Yes.
Right. There's a lot more other than those couple of things that I wanted the world to see, so I could feel safe, so I could feel loved, so I could make money. Right. Yes. It's just the best of me.
I hope we understand the power of what he just said, because this is what I mean when I say everyone is hustling. Everyone is putting their best foot forward. Everyone is doing what is necessary to survive, to get to the next step, to do what they need to do, to attract what they need to attract. And I call it a hustle. And I don't mean it in a negative way. It's everyone is hustling. Remember, when you meet someone, they have their agenda in that moment for that thing that they're doing. And saying it's an agenda does not make it automatically a bad thing. Sometimes when I say everyone have an agenda, persons think I mean a negative thing. You have good agendas and you have negative agendas. But the balance is important, right? So you need both the good and the bad, or what we call the good and the bad. Because to me, there's no. I have just disbarred the word or banned the word good or bad, right or wrong from my vocabulary, because I feel like once I start saying good or bad, it replaces God. That's how I feel. Once I start determining if something is good or bad, there's no longer God is using them, God is intervening, God is disrupting, God is working here, because I have replaced that with good or bad, right or wrong. But the moment I remove whether or not this is good or bad, I can say, God is doing something here. A breakdown is happening here. A breakthrough is happening here. Someone is doing some self-work. See, but the moment I start describing it good or bad, really, God is left out of the equation. That's my understanding, that's my interpretation, and that's how I see it. Please think about it for yourself and explore that thought, because really, when we finalize something, we leave God out. When we put a stamp on it, this is what is happening. Where is God in it? Where do we acknowledge the God in it? I'm just saying. What he just said is really, everyone is hustling. Not that everyone is hustling you. Everyone is hustling. Everyone is trying to make their way, being their best, seeking what they desire. So when you get into any encounter with anyone, that negotiation mindset must always be in place. And when I say negotiate, I don't mean that you're necessarily going to negotiate with them. Sometimes you may have to, but with yourself. Why am I here? What's supposed to be the outcome for me here? What part of this encounter or relation is in my best interest, or that I should pay attention to, or how do I want it to go? So you should always be present. And that's why if someone ask you to do something, negotiate with yourself. Is that something that is good for me? Is that something that I want to do? What do I how does this benefit me? And is it something favorable for me? You must always be hustling yourself, right? And that's why I think negotiating skills are one of the most important skills to teach, especially young people, to negotiate, because you don't have to go along to get along, and you do not have to stay on that bridge. You can negotiate. You can use the bridge to cross over, be grateful for the bridge, even carry the usefulness of it with you, but do not stay stuck on the bridge, right?
But then there's other parts of me that in the last couple of years I just had to be really honest about. The hardest one for me to be honest about it was that I'm scared most of the time.
That was hard for me too.
Right? Like, I'm scared. I live off of fear. Mm-hmm. And I've learned how to let the fear make me get on the treadmill. Right? Mm-hmm. I've learned how to make the fear make me eat right, or make me address somebody properly, so we don't have to get into nothing.
Ooh.
Right? So, but I had to really admit that, like, fear was the foundational basis of the entire creation of my life.
Ooh. How powerful is that? When we are busy telling people how to be, who to be, what to do, how to speak, do we understand that we are literally sinking them in fear? We are cocooning them. We're saying, be littler, be littler, be littler, be more insignificant, be more insignificant, be more insignificant. When we say to someone, don't talk the way it is natural for you, what are we doing? When someone shows up themselves and we call them crazy, they're crazy. I used to get this. I remember when I was in college, and I used to say to myself, don't they understand that I'm in college? I used to get this a lot. How you so pop down? You pop down here, you look so. Oh my God. I remember I was in this affair with this guy, relationship, whatever you want to call it. And I remember I would bring him around people that I believe are close to me, who I'm related to. And I remember one day I walked into the yard, and the first thing, and this is not her fault. She didn't know any better, and I love her. I love her so much. And I know she loves me. I know she wasn't trying to hurt me, but I was already sensitive about my body. And I remember as soon as I walked into the yard, oh, Mercy, you fatso. The guy sitting right there, looking all handsome, perfect size, everything. And I say that because in their eyes, He's from the UK. Well, he was Jamaican, but he grew up in the UK for the most part of his life. He went up as a young person, and he talks the language and everything. And there he is, all handsome, nice curly hair. You know what we accept to be beautiful, handsome, whatever. And then here I was, fat according to people. I'm bigger than I was then. I'm like, at that time I weighed like 165 pounds, between 165 and 170. But what happened then, because I understand why they were thinking I was so fat, is that I didn't really have a budget for clothes. And so my clothes usually fit small. So of course that makes me look bigger because the clothes is tight on me. But really and truly, I was just not wearing my correct size. Anyway, it was so belittling. And when it just constantly hearing that. And for me, I had to be like, so what I did, even growing up as a child, this was something I did from about 8 years old, because people have always tried to talk down to me. Like I remember they used to be like, oh my gosh, she's the dirtiest kid in the community. Man, you can't take care of her. You have this little girl and she's just dirty. And then they would say, but she is very smart. That's the only thing they'd say about me, And what I did was I studied. I said, okay, it never affected my self-esteem in a conscious way. I don't know if it affected me subconsciously, but it didn't. For me, that made me say, okay, well, I'm not that, so I'm going to be this for me. So I was just like, okay, whatever. So if someone says to me, oh, you're loud, I say, okay, not a problem. I am loud. So I wouldn't necessarily stop being who I was, because for some reason, I was going to be who I was. I was going to be me. It was very difficult for you to get me not to be me. So I would just take what you gave me and say, okay, fine. If that's who you see me as, then that is not who I am. As opposed to, okay, you see me that way. I don't want you to see me that way. I'm going to change. No, I'm not changing. I'm not changing like that. For me to execute change for someone, we have to have a negotiation. We have to sit and have a conversation for me to understand your perspective, how what I'm doing may be causing harm to you, and we can negotiate what else. I don't just change just because you tell me to. It has to be a negotiation, right? But that was just how I think I know it's my father and the way he reasoned with me that made me that way, right? And so we have to become conscious about how we're interacting with people, because what are we really asking of them? What are we really telling them? We're telling them to go to prison. We are literally imprisoned the very people we love and care about without knowing it.
I was scared most of the time.
Me too.
And that was based on my childhood. It was like, I was always the smallest one, so I couldn't really fight, so I would get bullied, and my father beat up my mom in front of me, and I didn't do nothing, and it just, it built in their PTSD,
right.
Fear reaction, right? So it's like, once I admitted.
And that was it for him. For me, it was, I don't know if it was just rejection, because I feel like I'm okay with rejection, but is the thought that I felt comfortable and confident with someone that I didn't realize didn't want me. Oh, the saying that still hurts so bad. Like, you see, if I even think you may be thinking it could possibly be that you don't want me, I would rather die than be around you. It was fear. I wouldn't even have the conversation with you. I would just disappear. I would just disappear. And there were times I got it wrong. I misunderstood a moment, right? And thought it was, like I said, I don't think it's a matter of rejection, because this is it, right? For me, I love that upfront rejection. I don't want you here. Oh, thank you. Wonderful. That doesn't hurt me. What hurts me is staying at a place, pretension. When someone pretend, is there something called pretension or pretentiousness or something, whatever it is, it's words. But I don't like to be around pretense at all. I do not like anything that's not authentic. I'm out. I am out. I don't want to be here. I don't like existing in false reality. I don't like it. When I'm with somebody who I think, oh, but this person loves me, and then I find they didn't even like you, that thing has the capacity to completely demolish me. It can just destroy me. So I had to work on myself, because they're free to be who they are. Remember, everyone is hustling, so I should show up hustling too. And my hustle in that area should be showing up with mindfulness. Mindfulness is my hustle, where I'm like, be clear that you belong here. Ask the questions you need to ask. Find out. Don't stay at this household if this is not a space they want you in. Do your research. Do your evaluation. Once I know I've done my best, it's easier to handle a failure. So even if I did not understand it correctly, or I misinterpreted the results I found, and it was a place where they didn't want me, it's easier for me to handle it once I know I've done my best at evaluating and checking and negotiating and doing my part of the hustle. You know what I mean? Powerful.
To myself that I'm scared, and then started leaning into it. And I don't know if you noticed, probably about 5 years ago, when I started doing all kinds of crazy, jumping out of helicopters over the Grand Canyon,
that was crazy.
Swimming with sharks and all of that.
Crazy,
it was like when I realized
I call that Caucasian activity.
That was crazy.
You see that prison? He calls it the Caucasian activity. You see that? Now, how is that Caucasian activity? But I understand why he said it. See what I'm saying? Because I guess perhaps the research might show that they do that more frequently, or maybe we only pay attention when they do. I don't know. But that's another part of the prison. The perceptions that we hang on to. You know what I mean? But he said it with heart. He didn't mean to hurt. So this is so important, what Will Smith was talking about. And I hope this was helpful for you, and that it helped you understand when I say hustle, when I say allow the breakdown to happen, because this is what happened, right? The moment you say, okay, I am scared, instead of pretending like you're not scared, or running away from the fact that you're scared, but the moment you say, I am scared, guess what happened? You can become strategic about it. You can use the fear. You can find out how can I use this? Or now that I know that I am scared, how do I move with caution, with wisdom, with security? You see what I'm saying? But if we never face it, then we just keep existing in it, not even realizing. And remember, for a lot of us, we don't even know it's fear. Fear doesn't always look like it's fear. There's some persons, like, for example, right, please don't get mad at me with what I'm about to say. This is one of my angels I'm going to talk about, and I love you so much, and I know you love your baby girl so much. And I'm aware that this might cause a disruption for you and a breakdown for you. But when I hear you, the fear you express when you're saying, oh my gosh, this happened to her, and because she cannot speak and whatever, maybe it's not because she couldn't speak why that person scratched her in the face. Maybe it's not that. Maybe it's just that person was just bigger. Maybe it's just that person was a bully. Maybe it's just that it happened so quickly to her, she didn't have time to respond, or maybe she hit him back, but it wasn't a scratch. Like, there are so many things, but that fear, oh my gosh. And I'm telling you, man, when I heard the fear in her, and this is why I think I don't believe in single motherhood, because I think in that moment, if someone who loved her, a male energy that loved her, held her and say, I know you're hurting because of what just happened to your baby girl, and I'm sorry. She's going to be okay. Just hold her. Just hold her and let her know this is not what happened to you that's happening to your baby. It's not. But because of what happened to you, if instead of moving in fear, because of saying, I don't want it to happen to her, what you can do is explore what happened to you, so you can learn, okay, so what could I have done to protect myself? And then teach that to your child. See? So instead of allowing it to form fear, allow it to teach strategy. That's all I'm saying. Now we're going to go to the clip we're going to go to now is it's Kanye, and it's perfect because I feel like this clip with Kanye is going to be exactly what, to me, in my interpretation, is exactly what Will just spoke about. Kanye literally enacted. It's like Kanye, Ye. Please forgive me, Kanye. Not that I think you're ever going to see this, but forgive me. His name, he wants to be called Ye. So It's like, to me, I feel like he went through whatever Will has gone through or is going through, and he's done the work, and he's like, I'm not accepting it anymore. I have my boundaries clear. I am in my negotiation era, and I will not accept anything. So this is what I'm about to do. I literally feel like this is exactly what he enacted, exactly the principles of what Will was talking about, showing up yourself, being yourself, and being unafraid to be yourself. And then here he is enacting, showing us exactly what that might look like. So let's go. And let me say this, I love Ye. I don't even know if I listen to his music. I'm not an intentional listener of his music. I'm not a fan. There's just something about his energy and his authenticity. I feel like Ye has this I think he has a divine purpose to demonstrate that you can be authentic no matter what. I feel like God is using him to show that, yes, listen, in the face of even danger, in the face of anything, you can be yourself. You can choose to be yourself, even if the world disagrees, and it's okay. You will survive. You have the skill sets and the techniques and the tools to handle it. You can handle it. You're not your parents. You can learn from their story. Use the bridge and get over the bridge. Don't stay on the bridge and take your children there with you. Get over the bridge. And then say to your child, here is the bridge. You can use it too and pass it. But we can't keep them stuck there. All right, so let's go to the clip with Kanye now, with Ye. So I want to say thank you to Piers Morgan. This clip is from his YouTube channel.
2 years ago, I interviewed Kanye Ye West on Uncensored after he'd made global headlines. It was a heated interview. These constant tirades, Ye, against Jewish people.
Have you felt my pain yet?
No, I want to stop right there because there's something I want to say. Piers Morgan, I don't know that you'll ever see this, but if you ever do, I want you to know this. Why I'm getting emotional again. I'm an emotional person. I'm an empath, okay? Just be mindful of that. Okay. I love Piers Morgan. I really do. Let me tell you why. I think he and Kanye is probably very similar, which is probably why they got it. What I love about Piers Morgan, I don't love everything Piers Morgan does, but I see a divine intention in him where he is willing to have the ugliest conversation with the ugliest person. And when I say the ugliest person, I mean what the world deems to be ugly. Piers is he'll go there. He'll say, I'm going to talk to you. I'm going to talk to you. And I really, honestly, you know what's funny? I remember when he used to cover the Meghan situation, it really turned me off because that was how I was introduced to him. That's how I first met him, right? Because I never knew before. And I then also I didn't want my thoughts of him to stay there. So I intentionally started looking for things that he does. And I saw where he goes into the prisons and he talks to the prisoners or whatever. But let me tell you what got it for me. I saw him on Britain's Got Talent. And that was where I saw his heart. I don't know how to explain it, but there was a softness in him. For me, it's my interpretation. I felt like I saw, like he looked through the person and saw the person's soul. And he saw that, you know what, this act may not be the best, but I see you. I saw that in him. Like I literally saw it and I'm like, see him different, Racquel. And I realized, so I do believe that he's rage baiting Kanye. And maybe he's a coach, I don't know, because what he's probably doing is causing a disruption so to engage so that Ye will open up or whatever the case may be. I don't think he has bad intentions in doing it, but I don't necessarily like it. That's just how I feel about it. And it could be because of the Caucasian and the melanated and the melanin that is at play here. Maybe that is what is giving me the discomfort, but I appreciate this conversation and I need more of it to continue happening, no matter how I feel, no matter how it makes me feel, because I'm working through it.
You haven't felt my pain.
You
don't want to feel my pain.
Well, no, hang
you don't hold You don't hold accountability.
And I understand what you're saying, right? Here you are, you're talking about, it can come across, let me put it this way. It comes across as the Jews are important to you, and so you're going to hold me accountable for what I said about them. But you have not yet acknowledged why I might have said what I said about them, the pain I felt, acknowledging my pain before getting to what displeased you. Let it be clear that I'm here. I'm the one that's here. They're not here. I am here, right? Well, they may be in the view they're watching, but I'm here in person. I'm here with you. Acknowledge me. That's what I'm hearing Kanye say. Acknowledge me. I'm here. Acknowledge me. Acknowledge my pain, my trauma. Acknowledge my why. Acknowledge my why. I have a reason. This is my public negotiation. This is my hustling in this situation. This is me fighting to be me, no matter how powerful they are. So you need to acknowledge me and who I am. That's what I'm hearing Kanye say.
To my pain, you're being a Karen.
Do you believe that you have any form of mental illness?
I believe that I suffered from exhaustion. I believe that I suffered from exhaustion.
It's beautiful
I
when we can
suffered
allow
from
tough
being lied
conversations
to
happen.
constantly by the people around me, by my management, by my ex-wife.
Do you still love Kim?
I absolutely love. I'll love her for life.
That interview last.
Oh my gosh. This was a responsible bit. I need to make something clear. These clips that you're seeing, they're clips. They're chopped and cut based on what I wanted to talk about. So please, this interview did not happen in this flow, and neither was the one with Will. I need that to be very, very clear. It did not happen. It didn't flow this way. Okay, so it may make the host come across as insensitive or whatever. It's not. He's not being insensitive. It's because I chopped it up and I just took out select clips. So please, you can go to @PiersMorgan Uncensored on YouTube and you can watch the full interview and get your own and come to your own conclusions.
2 hours.
So this is a new
Recently,
interview. That was an
he's
old
taken to
interview.
posting endless, outrageous anti-Semitic slurs.
Right. So he had an interview with him then, and now he's coming back to Kanye. I don't remember if Kanye walked out of that interview, but anyway, he's having him on again, and they're having.
On X, he frequently professes his great love for Adolf Hitler. He poses. That interview lasted 2 hours.
Right.
Most recently, he's taken to posting endless, outrageous anti-Semitic slurs. On X, he frequently professes his great love for Adolf Hitler. He poses in swastikas and KKK costumes. He says things like Jews were better as slaves and they should be whipped. We all know this because X has allowed him to carry on doing it to his 33 million followers. I've argued for a long time.
And I want to make this clear. I have not seen the clip, the posts that he's referred to. I don't know the context of the post. Again, it's just the interview that we're going on. For me personally, when I hear him say these things, I feel like he's rage baiting Kanye. That's how I feel. I suppose he may be doing that to have an engaging conversation with him, for the conversation to be interesting. I don't know. Or he saw those things that triggered something in him and he feel like, let's have a conversation about this instead of just like everybody else is Kanye is crazy, da 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 da. He's saying, let's have a conversation, and I respect it, right? But those things that he's saying, first of all, I remember when I said I love Satan. If there's a Satan, I love him. And persons were mad and said, hold on, is it the command to love? Because I say I love someone does not mean I agree with them, does not mean I'm going to become them. I only said I love that, right? What happens when we hate what we call the enemy? Or what would happen if we hate Satan? Isn't that hate in our heart? Isn't that disobedience to God? We have to decide what we're doing. We're either living in love or we're not. And if we're going to do it, it's for everyone.
His account should be shut down. It should be stopped. That's my opinion.
That's his opinion. Now, here is Piers, who has a program called Piers Uncensored, where, in my understanding of it, he's going to say, let me not say.
I believe passionately in free speech and I detest censorship.
He believes passionately in free speech. His program is called Uncensored. However, who he doesn't agree with should be censored, is what I'm interpreting this to mean. So here you are. So Piers, you're not as uncensored as you would like us to think. You're not an advocate for free speech as much as you want to believe. So you're going to have to face the truth about that. Because if you really want to claim title of freedom of speech advocate, then you have to know that that means freedom of speech for what you considered hate speech, for what you considered cruel speech, for what you don't like, for what you don't agree with. It's only free if it's free to all. It's not free if it's just to the people who you like and who you agree with and who you can't prevent and you can't stop. It can't be just those people. It can't be only with those people who you can't control or who you submit to or who you worship or who you adore or who you admire or who you value. It has to be for everyone. It's freedom for all or it's not freedom. So we have to get clear about that.
I believe in the importance of sharing honestly held opinions
Do you?
in a democracy.
Do you?
Posting endless, vile, anti-Semitic insults.
But those are endless, violent, anti-Semitic to you, and based on your interpretation and those who interpret it that way. Is that what the man meant? You know, sometimes I'll post things on Facebook and people just run away with it. And I'm like, it's a caption. How much could I have said in a caption? Do you know that there's only so many words you can post in a post? There are only so many words, right? And sometimes because I want it to just be a caption, I just say something and people don't come to me and say, hey, what did you mean when you say that? What was that supposed to mean? They just come with they've already drawn their own conclusions, made their assumptions, and they've already concluded on exactly what they believe you're saying. And that's not what I was saying. That's not what I meant. That's not what I said. And I wasn't trying to trigger you either. I just wanted to make a statement, and that was it. We need to normalize asking questions and having conversations, even when they're difficult conversations. We've got to normalize going beyond the headlines. We've normalized the trolling. No, we need to normalize becoming less of a troll and more of a conversationalist, learning people and having real conversations.
Encouraging violence against Jewish people in these unhinged tirades
Your
on a
interpretation.
privately owned platform.
Listen to what
to
you
do
call
with free.
Unhinged tirade. Unhinged. You're calling the man unhinged. You're demeaning him. You're making him less. You are making him less of a person. You're saying he is less than the Jews because of what he said about them. That's what you're saying. You are demeaning and marginalizing this man. You're even ostracizing him. In my opinion, this is my interpretation of the things you're saying. And it's dehumanizing. That's what you're doing. You're dehumanizing Kanye. Yay. You're dehumanizing him. And that's not okay. But freedom of speech is something I actually believe everyone should have, because God did not muzzle us, so nobody should. So those are your interpretations and you're entitled to them. And I'm not going to demean you in that way. I'm just going to see you as another person seeking to understand another person. This is just you having read his messages, and this, I'm not going to say you are unhinged for calling him unhinged, because you're not unhinged. You are a person, and none of us are perfect. And you yourself are trying to make sense of all of this. But what you're doing to Kanye is demeaning him. You are dehumanizing him. You're making him lesser than those whom you think he is going up against, in my opinion.
Speech.
And understanding.
I invited him back onto Uncensored because at least on my show, I can call him out for what he's been doing and put myself.
So he's not calling him on to have a conversation. That's not what he's calling him on for. He's not calling him to learn and to understand more. What did he mean when he said that? No, he's calling him on to hold him accountable. Who made you? Who died and made you God, Pierce? Who died and made you God? And now I'm going to go into my trauma. Is it because you are Caucasian why you think you have the right to pull him in and whip him on your program? Is that it? No, that is me carrying forward the trauma. Now let me drop that trauma, because you don't have a whip in your hand, and Kanye is not going to position himself to be whipped by you. So I'm going to shift my thinking then. This is one man who thinks someone else is doing wrong, and so he feels as a leader, perhaps, he should call him up for some accountability. Or maybe he's saying, you know what, let me hold this person, because accountability is a good thing. Let me have a conversation about accountability. Let me tell him how I'm receiving this, and then it gives him an opportunity to say that's not what he's trying to say. See, I want to see it different because Piers, I want to see the best in you, and the reason I want to see the best in you is because I know my intentions are good, and I'm no better than you. So there's no way I need to think your intentions are worse than mine. We have good intentions. So I'm going to accept that in this moment. Though the reminder of what happened before comes to my mind, I'm not going to let it lead my thoughts. So let's continue.
In between the 33 million followers who see his post without any challenge whatsoever. Our producer...
You heard what he said? 33 million followers. Now take note of that.
Spotted that he was in Spain with his friend Sneeko, and we invited both of them on for an interview. Ye West is rarely out of the headlines at the moment. It's fair to say the headlines are equally rarely positive. The rapper, producer and fashion designer is currently working on a new album. Several new tracks were previewed on a recent live stream with his friend Sneeko, and both Sneeko and Ye join me now. Well, welcome to Uncensored. Ye, we haven't spoken for a while. How are you?
I'm doing good. I don't use the term West, you know, the whole drop the slave name idea.
Okay.
Oh, it's the
so
West
we just
that
call
he's
you
got.
Ye, yeah?
Okay. So you
Yes,
have
sir.
Kanye and you have
Okay,
Ye.
well, look,
No West. Okay.
When I
thank you
last
for that.
interviewed, we had a long conversation. And since then, a lot has happened in your life.
Do you realize that even in the way that Ye has shown up, to me, I feel like he's already I'm sitting on my boundaries right here and I'm not letting anyone play with me. The energy is clear, right? Because in my opinion, I feel like if he heard anything Pierre said before, I would be in the mindset of, oh, so what? You think you're going to come drag me up here to what? Treat me like I'm a boy, I'm a child, so you're going to what? Tell me I was wrong, are you going to whip me? What? The thoughts that would have been going through my mind. What are you trying to tell the world? That I'm a boy and you're going to pull me in and discipline me? Is that what? So even with the way he is sitting, you know, like, all right, let's have this conversation. What's up? Yeah, because we're equals. So what's up? What's up? You know, let's go. That's how I'm interpreting it. And I don't blame him. Like I said, Pierce is coming with his hustle. Ye is coming with his hustle. Pierce is coming with his mindset. Ye is coming with his mindset, because we're equals. We're equals. So we have to show up like that.
And so I'm grateful for the opportunity to try and talk to you about some of this.
Talk to you, not with you.
How would you say your life is at the moment?
I mean, you see that view?
Do you
Yeah.
see that view? I love Ye so much.
Your life is good?
Well, judge it on the view as the answer to how my life is. Judge me by the view.
Well, the view is Mallorca. I've been there. It's a beautiful place. And for all intents and purposes, you seem very relaxed and happy. That is in direct contrast to your public image at the moment.
Ye is on the defense, you see? Well, we call it the defense because I don't think he's on the defense. I think he's carrying a particular energy because he knows who he's talking with. And he knows where he's at. And he's clear on the environment he's in. So you match the energy of where you're at.
Over the last couple of years, led by your ferocious... Well, hang on, let me finish the question. Led by your ferocious use
No,
of...
but I already disagree. It's not in contrast. There's so many people and artists that are championing the idea of someone being able to just express who they really are and have been able to go through the war of being attacked by the banks, being attacked, you know, by the banks. That's the best way to put it, being attacked by the banks and to still be here with this view is, you know, that's the win. So I think I'm in contrast to your contrast.
Okay, but the point I was going to make is that I watch what you put out on X. You've got 32 million followers. So you're one of the most followed people.
See, wait. Now look.
Remember what Pierce said earlier? 33 million. So why is he saying 32 million here?
Look right now. You're not gonna take inches off my dick, bro. Like, how many followers do I have?
Well, how many is it?
I think.
Do you realize Pierce is being dishonest? Based on what he said before, Pierce, you're coming across as dishonest right now. You said earlier 33 million followers, which means you have the information. Are you seeking to trigger Kanye? Why would you do that? He's here to have a conversation with you. He's here. He's not running. He's right here with you. There's no need to come across as disrespectful and demeaning. There's no need to belittle him. There's no need to try to make him seem like he's less than he is, because he is showing up himself just as you are showing up yourself. So what's the message here, Piers? What's your message here? Are you trying to tower over Kanye to let him know, hey, your place in this world dictates that you're smaller than you're behaving? Is that what you're trying to say, Piers? Because that's how it's coming across. I'm just saying.
You could do the study. You got a whole staff over there.
I thought it was 32 million. How many is it? You obviously know.
I mean, no, I mean, don't.
Well
don't
done, Kanye. Negotiate.
I'm told it's 33 million now, so congratulations.
I want you to pay more attention to what Ye is doing than or pay attention to what they're both doing. But when you leave this conversation, I want you to leave with what Ye did. You see what he did? He's not allowing himself to be emasculated. He is letting you know we're both here. We both belong here. And I'm not going to let you play with me. I'm going to meet you with who I am.
You're slightly bigger
good
following
thing.
than I thought.
No, congratulations. Your information is correct. You're not just some, dude trying to sub. I'm a gift, bro. You know what I mean? Why do all you people in media act like you haven't played my songs at your weddings or graduations or at funerals or when your child was born?
And act like
you take somebody that's living like a Lennon, a Michael Jackson, and you just take all this time to just like that nuance right there. It's idiotic. It just shows the hate that you put out for people that put love. There's so much love in the art that I put out. So many.
Listen, Piers Morgan, in my opinion and based on my understanding, showed up with a chip on his shoulder because he's going to hold this man accountable. Even though I think he did that as a journalist. As a journalist, yes? Because you want to have that conversation. Listen, this is Ye. And whenever he shows up, views show up. Okay? Views show up. So he wants to trigger him. He wants to disrupt him so that he can pull things out of him. But the problem I have with what Pierce is doing is that Pierce is being dishonest. And to me, that says, I feel like I'm less than Kanye. So in order for me to come up to his level or to try to emasculate him, I need to lie. I need to add things to the conversation. I always say this. You don't need to add anything to the reality of things. Things already are what they are. You can just call it for what it is. You don't need to add to it, okay? It is what it is. The fact that he's going to, before he said 33 million, which means he has the information, but now he's before Kanye, and because I feel in my interpretation, he's feeling Kanye's energy is so strong. He's standing. He's in his manhood. He's in his boss. He's in his leadership. And Piers is feeling a little less than, a little cut down, a little like, I'm not measuring up. I've got to do something to measure up. So now he's going to try to trigger him. He's going to put out false information, 32 million, when he knows it's 33 million. No hate here. Again, we are using their breakdown to inspire our self-work so we can have breakthrough. So we don't have to show up like that. So we can show up boss. And if we're showing up like that, it's intentional. It's a negotiation. It's a hustle. We know what we're doing.
What are you talking about? I haven't said anything.
What are you talking about?
But you did. You lied. You misrepresented his information. You see?
Literally,
what he's doing? He's gaslighting Kanye, in my opinion, and my interpretation of this. What did I do? I didn't do anything. Yes, you did. And he just told you what you did. He said you're not going to chop off inches off his dick. He said that. You heard him. And you did. He has 33 million followers, and you said you came and misrepresented that data, that statistic. You said 32. 1 million is a lot. If 1 million people die suddenly all at once, everyone would take note. 1 million matters. One matters.
And
you said it. You
what would-
implied I haven't
what
played your
rewind?
music. Of course I played your music.
Anita.
And look at this boss move. Kanye is going to show you that
This is what you get for now.
he has his boundaries and
We
he's
can
willing
circle
to act
back
on them.
when you can count.
Okay.
Boom. People, you can always walk away. Walk away. You have your rights and they have their rights. You are who you are and they are who they are. You do not have to sit and take anything you don't want. You don't have to dine on food you don't enjoy. You don't have to sleep where you can't rest. You don't have to stay there. You can find rest elsewhere. You can find peace elsewhere. You can move in your own best interest. You can act in your own best interest. You can do what's best for you. And if you're not willing to die for that, then you're going to be willing to live as a slave, as a demeaned person. You have to make the choice to be willing to be dehumanized. I would rather die with integrity than live as a dehumanized person. That's my choice. You don't have to stay there. You can walk away. Anyway, that's it today for Allegedly. And I just want to say thank you so much to Piers Morgan, his friend, Will Smith, and his friends, the $1 Million Worth of Game podcast and the Piers Morgan Uncensored. Let me be very clear. I'm really, really thankful for these people. To these people for putting themselves out there, that we can sit here knowing they're going to be criticized, knowing they're going to be torn apart, knowing we're going to be evaluating, but they had the strength and the courage to put themselves out there so we can be inspired by their breakdown to do our self-work so that we can achieve breakthroughs. So I just want to say thank you to all of you. No hard feeling here. That was just my opinion, my interpretation, my understanding of what was happening. And that doesn't make me right either. It just makes it my perspective, my voice. So make sure that, please, if you want to hear the full interviews for both of them, the information is there at Piers Morgan Uncensored, at M Worth of Game on YouTube, both of them on YouTube. So you can go and watch a full interview, because remember, these were clips. And all of these, of course, I'm using under the fair use. All right? Awesome.
Unlock your potential every Thursday with our podcast, Refresh, Relax, Renew. Join Coach Racquel as she guides you through personal development journeys. Each episode focuses on actionable steps to enhance your personal journey. The podcast features 3 main segments to keep you engaged. We start with discussions on trending topics relevant to your growth. Then we unbox solutions to common challenges we face daily. Finally, stay updated with fresh funding opportunities each week. Tune in every Thursday for new episodes, and see you there.